I can do Dipti ji. Somebody else. You want me to start?
Yeah, please start the invocation and then.
I can do the chanting also if you want.
Oh, wonderful. So, okay, then 5 to 12
Yes.
verses. Yeah, oh, great.
Okay.
Please.
सदाशिव समारंभाम् शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम् श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः So I should start from Na Chaitat Vidmaha?
Ji.
Okay. Not from Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. I can start like that, right?
Yeah.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Dvitiyodhyayaha Sankhya Yogaha न चैतत् विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयो यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्रः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतस्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यश्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्याद् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणम् इन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमावसपत्रमृद्धम् राज्यं सुरान् अपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशम् गुडाकेश परन्तप न योत्स्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः श्री तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश भाषसे गतासून गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः Nattvevaham jatu nasham Natvene me janadipaha Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha Sarve vayamatah param.
Very good. Great. Keep it up. A little more practice, but wonderful.
I had a question regarding chanting.
Mm-hmm.
In verse 11, when it says Prajnavadanshcha, so that bindu on top is a na or a ma?
Ma.
Is it always ma when it's in between a word?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll recheck, but yes, I think. For now, yes. If there's a change, I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Because the next line also, Gata Sumshcha. So if there's a change, anyone can let me know also. You can also let me know what I've mixed up something. Okay? Since it's so long back, I don't remember, but I think it was in between as well. Because the word is together. So should be more. So thank you everyone and welcome back to the class. And yesterday, is Divya here? Yeah, here. Okay, Divya had had suggested for prahasanna. Can we not also take it as that maybe Bhagwan is happy that finally someone is asking him a question, so he has a chance to teach everyone. I thought about it a little more, and it didn't look right, but the reason was a very simple one. Why we cannot take it just as if that Bhagwan was happy, prahasan should be that he's happy, is because in the verse itself, the moolam is prahasanna iva, as if he was happy. So it is not directly saying, it is not saying he was happy. If it was so, iva would not be needed. Because of the presence of iva in the verse itself, that iva indicates that it was more of a smirk, more of a mock, more of shaking up Arjuna rather than just being pleased for his sake. Because there, you see, that doesn't bring the ekatvam of Bhagwan's character. Here Bhagwan is, the minute Arjuna says, I'm Shishyahate, his whole attention is now only on Arjuna. It no longer refers to him and his purpose. What was right for Arjuna, what is correct for Arjuna, is how he is going to respond. So it stands original as is, and we are negating the tika. Okay, Divya? Is that clear? Perhaps it is. Okay.
Just wanted to add to this. So we were watching that Vishnu Puran series on TV, and whenever somebody said, like as humans, sometimes things are very obvious to us and we say it. So when something like that is happening in the series, the Vishnu character, he just gives this kind of a mocking smile, thinking that, oh, you don't know, and you are taking the wrong meaning.
Correct. Yes, that is a very characteristic of Vishnu's, Vishnu's and Krishna's, especially in Krishna's avatar, as Vishnu and Krishna.
Yeah.
It shows that kind of objectivity as we were discussing yesterday. So yeah, so that kind of, let's start the class further now. Bhagwan has said in the 11th verse, started to address Arjuna's state of mind, and with reference to all of us, a statement of fact is made, and this needs to be registered for anyone who wishes inner growth. And inner growth means, in layman's term, it will mean spiritual growth. When you want a free inner experience, being free from within, relatively relaxed from within, That is when you hold these like pratigya vakyams, these are those statements which are profoundly and yet profound yet direct knowledge. They have the capacity to free a person from within if one is able to digest that thought, digest that knowledge and hold it within oneself. In other words, the verse has given no explanation so far. All that Bhagavan is saying here is to Arjuna that you are showing contradictory behavior, not in accordance to the wisdom that you've spoken of, prajna vadan. You talk as if you are a wise person, but your behavior is not in alignment with it. In other words, when we say ये बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, there are people who can talk big things. I will do this, then I will do this, then this I will achieve this, and then this will happen and that. But when it comes to real action plan, it is not followed by an action plan. It is not a disciplined action plan behind it. So, hawa mein baatein. It's like, just throwing words. So they say something, but there is no follow-up in their mind with reference to upholding what they have said. That, talking one thing and not being able to uphold it. This is where Bhagavan is saying that Arjuna, you are showing such a symptom. And if you are showing such a symptom, the tatparyam, the essence of it is that a wise person, the one who has knowledge, does not grieve. This is what we hold in us. As individuals, as jivas, with deha buddhi as our sense of reality, that I am a body and this is real for me. That this world with its plurality, with its sukha and dukkha is my world. And I completely follow that world. I am in tune with the world and therefore I have hopes from the world. I want things from the world. I avoid things in the world. I chase world. The perception of world as real is unflinching. It doesn't change for us. The minute we wake up in the morning, averagely 99.99% of the people already wake up with the thought, "Aaj mujhe kya karna hai?" Yeah, something from yesterday you are lingering in the mind today. Nobody wakes up with a thought, or very hardly 0.001% will wake up with the thought that I was asleep a moment before, not cognizing a world. दुनिया नहीं थी, दुनिया भी नहीं थी, मैं भी नहीं थी. I was also not there. And the minute I have said I've woken up, my perception of having woken up, the minute I say I have woken up, suddenly my senses are reporting to me a world. My bed may be uncomfortable or very comfortable. It's hard, it's soft. There are birds. My ears are giving me sounds from across the room, everywhere. My eyes have opened up to this hue of colors everywhere. I'm able to recognize, I am able to identify things that I own, things that suddenly, when I wake up, I have woken up with a sense of me being an individual. मैं हूँ. और ये जो मैं हूँ, that idea that I have कि मैं हूँ, that sense of reality is so powerful, is so strong that it doesn't shake. Even when we grow old, even for people who grow apparently old by body, it doesn't change with age. It remains. That sense of मैं हूँ. The world is outside me. The world I interact with is very vast. बहुत बड़ी दुनिया है ये. There are stars, there is sun, there is moon, there are galaxies, there is storms, there is war, there is inflation, there is क्या नहीं है. Every day brings up news items. The sense of reality is very strong. Bhagwan says, however much knowledge you have about this world, however knowledgeable you become double PhDs, you become researchers, you discover new things, you go to Mars now, kuch bhi kar lo, anything through this knowledge about the world, regarding the world, this knowledge will not displace the sense of want, the sense of I lack something, the sense of I wish there is something more. None of this knowledge is going to deal with your state of feeling inadequate, feeling sometimes happy and wanting to hold on to it. None of this knowledge is going to address this state of mind. Therefore, Shastra Drishti, however knowledgeable you are about the world and its topics, it is still called Agyan. Even if you discover the minutest particle now through science, even then, in Shastra Drishti, it is Agyan. You are still in the same level of Agyan as anybody else who is not discovered, who has no knowledge, who is an illiterate with reference to the world. If you don't even have the education of a letter, kakha bhi nahi suna hai, padha hai, you are illiterate. Agyanata of that person and a person who has discovered another particle in physics, so well read, so well educated scholar, and has gained a lot of prizes, accolades for it. Even that person is still an Agyani. Agyan hai usme, has no knowledge, because that state of mind, you find a lot of scientists, a lot of musicians, a lot of artists, they almost feel that it is because of the sense of grief. Poets, nikalti hi tab hai poetry when you have that experience of grief. You can create a lot of artistry things if there is a sense of sadness, etc., etc. There is this cognition as if grief is something which is very noble. Shastra says it's self-indulgence. Self-indulgence means you are indulging in your own self. Agyan avastha hai ye. Ye agyani ka lakshan hai. Agyani. Having no knowledge. Because panditaha. Who is a pandit? A pandit is one, panda, the one who has Atma Gnaha. He has Atma Gyan. Only the one who has Atma Gyan is truly knowledgeable. All of us, anybody and everybody, the whole humankind is actually, from Shastra Drishti, having self-ignorance. That I wake up in the morning and having woken up, I see myself as an individual form interacting with the world, seeing the world, wanting things to do, my POAs of the week and the month and the year ahead, etc. That I'm hell-bent on achieving. All this sense of duality, division that I perceive This, he says, the wise have no grief. No grief is an absolute statement. Why? Because there is a fundamental understanding and acceptance of the nature of life. They have knowledge of it. What is the nature of life? Everything that you contact in the world, with keeping your individuality intact, anything and everything that you contact has a temporary existence. It was not there before, it will not there be later. The greatest thing is your body. When you have identified, when you've woken up in the morning and you said, oh, I have this to do. If you have slept in a bad posture, you wake up with the first thought, oh, that pain. Oh, atak gaya. That pain. I have pain. Nobody says my body has pain. It will feel so strange. My body has got stuck. My joint has got locked. My joint has got, body's joint has got locked. It will seem so strange to talk like that. There is tadatmyam. There is oneness with the body. That whoever is in recognition of it or in contact with that tadatmyam of the body, ask yourself, are you the same body that you were 5 years ago? Bhagwan is going to give us this reason later on also. Forget 5 years ago, 1 year ago. Forget that, however old you are, when you were born to now, is the body the same? Therefore, what is body? Is it in any way going to last forever? What is the nature of body? Tad vikar. It will go through its 6 stages of modification. Whatever has come to birth, whatever has come to manifestation, will go through the 6 stages and end itself. There will be death of it. Body. Should you grieve for body going? Nobody grieves for it, really speaking. What are you really grieving for? Because we know all that. The minute the person is gone, you don't want to keep the body more than what's necessary around you. You wonder, this is the same body which held the person, but on deathbed. You won't keep it more than what's necessary. You will do its last rites as soon as possible. Body, you are very easy to detach with when you see that there is no person there inside. Now, it's just matter. It can't move on its own. It does nothing. There is no waking up of the body. Once the person's exited, once the subtle body is gone, this sharira has what nature? Has a nature of temporariness. What is a jnani? Who's a jnani? What is a jnani's perception? Established in this recognition. What recognition? ये जो देह है ना, ये देह आज है. इसी अवस्था में कल होगा? Not necessary. Not only me, myself, people around me, those with whom I am related, those with whom I am close, those with whom I have an association and my life depends on them or their life depends on me, there is no guarantee that this sharira body is going to be lasting forever. There is unshaken acceptance of this. Most of us do not have a value of acceptance in our life. It's a value to be worked upon. acceptance of things that are not in our hand, acceptance of things that by their nature, the way they are, as is, understanding that your will not work on them. Acceptance that in this context, that the body is a temporary phenomenon in which an individual expresses life, identifies with it, says this is my body, but truly speaking is ready to give it up when it becomes difficult to continue in a body. That means I am always distinct and separate from the body. And if so, a wise person is one who has this knowledge, like we said yesterday, Gaant bandi hui. There's so much reflection that has gone on it. There is so much thinking that has happened on this thought. What do I mean by reflection? What do I mean by thinking has gone behind it? Accept fully that nature of body, nature of world is changing ever. Therefore, I cannot expect it to function any other way. I cannot wish anything where the nature is changed. It's like saying, if a river's nature is ever flowing, would you expect that river would change its nature one day? Will it be river ever? River is called a river because of the flow of water. If the flow of water ceases, it's no longer a river. It dries up. If it dries up, there is no river there. A nature of a thing will always exhibit its character, and any amount of my wishing anything else will not change its nature, does not change its nature. So what is it about the body? Body's nature is change. With reference to body, can you wish an everlasting association with anyone? I would accept all of you are saying yes if you do not.
No.
No, absolutely not. You don't expect in any way an everlasting association, however wonderful that association is, however productive or in the sense uplifting that association is that association going to be everlasting? No. Have I prepared myself for that? I'm showing how manan of this fact is itself some relief. There is already some freedom if one digests this. We are not moving into the next verse because this verse needs to be digested. It has to take a hold in the mind. The vritti has to get strong. What is that vritti? First level. शरीर, we all know is temporary. सच में हम सब जानते हैं, इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. We've attended enough chauthas and we've attended enough birthday parties. We have gone to namkarans. Vyavhar mein we've done all this. Yet, the associations that are meaningful for me, that I am close to, like Arjuna is close to Bhishma and Drona, the loss of that association, am I prepared for it? If I can say yes, whoever says yes, I'm prepared, means you can only be prepared if your mind has accepted the knowledge that your buddhi has received, and that knowledge is, it is temporary. And when I know it is temporary, and if there is an association which is meaningful and holds value for you, how will you deal with that association? it's temporary. That perception is not lost. Like I said yesterday, if it's an exercise that we do every day, that when I go to sleep, I don't know if I'm waking up tomorrow. How many issues are going to be issues left? Hardly anything holds importance. What really is important is to get digested in the facts that Shastra presents of life, the nature of life, and what is called life. Who's living here? Who is the one who's experiencing things? What is the nature of that experiencer? So he says, the first acceptance is, a wise person is one who remains unshaken in his perception of starting first with even the body, and therefore all associations that were born with the body. So really speaking, grief boils down to relations, associations, sambandha. There is a story, suddenly I remembered. I'll say whatever I remember. Brahmaji created Bandhan, and told him, go in the world, introduce yourself, whoever accepts you, you relate to them, you're a part of them then, you become a part of their world. So Bandhan's very happy with his existence now. Brahmaji is created. So he goes one to another, the whole world. He goes everywhere. And nobody, the minute he introduces himself, I am Bandhan. Shunned away. Go. Nahi chahiye. Thrown away. The association's not kept. Go. He's asked to go. Very unhappy, sad, dejected. He goes back to Brahmaji. What sort of a creation have you made? I have no association. I have nobody who accepts me. I'm not accepted in the world. I'm not accepted as a part of the life process. So Brahmaji says, why do you think it is? He says, maybe because I'm not good looking. I don't have an attractiveness about me. So Brahmaji says, what do you think will make you good looking? What will make you attractive? He says, I need to have more beautification. So Brahmaji says, okay, I will give you some along with Bandhan. So now onwards, you're going to be called Sambandha. He's very happy. He goes in the world. Who are you? I'm Sambandh. Hello, how are you? And he has a huge association now. Why? Because as long as it is Bandhan, you don't want it. But when it gets beautified, when it's exaggerated, or when it is appealing, it becomes Sambandha. Have I conveyed the story a little? What is Sambandha? Relation. Sambandha. A relation is Bandhan. Any relation is Bandhan. Where does it start from? That relation? The relation starts from. The relation starts from the fact that you say, I am this body. I am this body. This is where the relation starts from. And relation by itself means mama. Mera. Mere hai ye. My child. Mera. My etc., etc. Even my neighbor, my friend, my country, my religion. All of this is sambandha. Of what? Main, mere, there is a relation. That relation, what is the reality of this relation? That is why most people... Okay, what is the reality of this relation? Reality in this context of the verse.
The fact that it lasts only till the time that the body is there.
First fact. Are we ready? Are we mentally ready for that? This is Prajnavadan. What is Prajnavadan that Arjuna gave? He spoke well, but his mind is not still educated to what he knows. So he knows all Dharma Shastra. In the same way, we all know body is temporary. Nobody is lasting forever. Nobody is here eternally going to be there. Everybody has an expiry date. All of us have very short life, and our associations that we value are also going to be short-lived. They are not forever here. But exactly like Arjuna, even knowing so, we do not reflect on this fact. We don't accept it. Means what? हमारी बुद्धि इस विचार पे जड़ नहीं लेती. Information है, we have knowledge, but we are not accepting the truth of this knowledge, the reality that it presents to us. What is the reality? The reality is, it is a short association. Therefore, am I ready, mentally prepared? If I am, it will be based on the knowledge of the dharma of the sharir. उसका ज्ञान है और उस ज्ञान को आप पकड़ के रखे हो, and therefore आपकी मन व्याकुल नहीं होगा to an extent like any other person who has not prepared themselves for this fact, knows it but has not accepted it. So who is a panditaha in this? What is Atma Gyan here? The first layer is from Laukik Drishti. Laukik Vyavharik standpoint. From Vyavharik standpoint, nothing is eternal. Nothing will last. Acceptance of it. Whether it is my body, whether it is my health, whether it is my wealth, whether it is my relations, anything in life is not permanent. Therefore, I should be mentally ready for a change, not wishing it to happen. But if by course of life a change does occur, my mind is ready to accept the change, and my buddhi at that time needs to be available to me. Now what is to be done in this change that has come? That is what Krishna is reviving Arjuna for. There is a change that has happened in his situation. He is not ready to now lose his people, the ones he is close to. He wants them to continue to be there. Enjoy his life with them. As a result of which, his mind has got diluted. His raga, his attachment has surfaced. And suddenly, his words of wisdom are not in accordance to the behavior that he exhibited and he declared, I will not fight. So sambandha is actually the cause of grief. कोई ना कोई संबंध ऐसा होता है. Like we said yesterday, what is Shloka? Manasa santapaha. It is that burningness inside. मन जलता है, अंदर ही अंदर व्याकुल रहता है. Whatever be the cause of it, that santapata, manasa santapata is the lakshana of Shloka. And with reference to relations, here Shloka is expressed at the fear of losing them. But what is a jnani's behavior? He has firm knowledge, anchored. That knowledge is not hidden like Arjun mein abhi chup gayi hai. The knowledge is available to the person. They have strengthened the perception by repeatedly inquiring on that thought till it has become familiar to the mind and available at an instant to the person. That, he says, is the lakshana of a jnani. And there is this statement that is made for a who is a jnani. It's not that he will not have difficulties, he will not have awkward situations or obstacles in life. Despite them, because of knowledge held in the buddhi firmly, that knowledge in which he abides, the mind has been made prepared to follow the knowledge. Such a one is called a jnani. And even if he has, despite the causes, his acceptance is not taken up. The verse would say, or the statement would say, who's a panditaha? Te panditaha yena shochanti. Those are panditas who do not grieve. Those are the wise people who do not grieve. When? Shokanam karanaha santi. Even when there are causes for grief. Shokanam. Shoko ka karan hone ke bavajud. Who is a pandit? Who does not grieve. In spite of having reasons to grieve. Like we said yesterday, Krishna had enough reasons to grieve. He has an uncle after his life. Even till the end, he is the most misunderstood person also. He has more reasons to grieve. But despite reasons to grieve, who are the people who cry the most? A long time ago I used to give this example. When you see a laborer, hard worker, laborer, जो पत्थर तोड़ता है, and he's carrying the stones, the rubble from one place to another place, and he's sleeping on the truck over the stones, sound asleep. Who's complaining in life? He has no time to register that. I'm not saying it's a advisable position. No, certainly not. Context is grieving. Who's expressing that sorrow, that complaint in life? सब कुछ होने के बावजूद, you will have good homes, you will have all facilities at home, you have helpers at home, you have money, you have food on the table, you have all kinds of facilities. Should your happiness not be comparable to this stone cutter? He has reason to be unhappy. He has reason to complain. He is working hard. Do you have reason to complain? Do you have reason to object to what all you have? No. But grief seems to have means manasa santapata, kuch na kuch karan pakadna, which has actually got no substance. मगर मन कोई कारण पकड़ लेगा, in Hindi as we would say, रोने के लिए. कोई भी कारण, if this is not it, कुछ और पकड़ लेता है. Why? Now I'm coming to the main point again. As Krishna says, there is self-indulgence. आपका ध्यान अपने पे ही है. मैं is essential. मैं and मेरा, that is अज्ञान janya, born from अज्ञान. So here he says, from the very fact that the sharir can never be lasting, and the one who knows this, truly speaking, thoroughly enjoys life because is in all readiness. कल ये संबंध होगा कि नहीं होगा? कल ये चीज होगी कि नहीं होगी? Today there is. You are thankful, you are grateful, and you make the most of it. You enjoy the most in life. You are absolutely, truly a person who's detached because of this acceptance, because of this knowledge, is truly the person who is happy today. Why? Because even if there are difficulties, as we said, कारण हो भी सकता है. शोकानाम कारणाः सन्ति. There may be many reasons, valid reasons, like this stone breaker would have. Genuine reasons. Yet, Jnani is one who will not grieve despite the reasons. It's a very big declaration. Gita has started at this verse. Pratigya Vakyam. Krishna is telling human beings, humankind, Ashocyananva shochastvam. Telling Arjuna here, Prajnavadamsha bhashase. You're talking big things, all knowledgeable things, but you're grieving for things that don't deserve grief. A, from the standpoint of the body itself, it's temporary. That doesn't mean that, you don't value the person inside. But from the standpoint of the person inside, the subtle body, Sat Vrittatvat, the people in front of you for whom you have fear of losing, संबंध टूट जाएगा. उन लोगों का अगर सोचो तो इन लोगों के लिए तो कभी ग्रीफ होना ही नहीं चाहिए. Because these are सत वृत्ति वाले. They have lived a righteous life, and by the principle of life in the Vedic Dharma, the minute you leave this body, the next body that you are going to acquire, that next body is dependent upon what you have accumulated in the past in terms of your karma, your punya and pap, and that mission. And according to that, these people have lived one whole life. At least आपके सामने वाली life तो उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी जी है. And if they have lived a good life, there is no reason for you to believe that they are going to not have a better life tomorrow in a new body. They are certainly going. It's a time to celebrate. It's not a reason to grieve. Because those who have lived a good life are definitely on Sadgati. They will go better, higher, towards their own fulfillment. Nature will take them to a better place for their own completion of their own journey. Therefore, there is no reason to grieve. Subtle body will be carried to a better sthiti. Therefore, why should you grieve? Makes sense? Anybody? Third reason is
I don't know about the other cultures, but in us, they say that if someone passes away at a ripe old age, having lived a full life, then at their death, there's usually almost like a celebration, like a lot of, like a big feast and a big meal and flowers and...
Yeah, correct. It is so. We do that also because it comes from here. But that is because there is knowledge in the culture. So in the name of that person also you distribute, the vessels distributed in the name of or something is distributed in their name because that's like a dhan done, etc. There are a lot of, that's cultural. So, but it comes from this understanding. Third thing he says, does that mean that people have not lived a good life? Unke liye to at least I should grieve? He says, fundamentally, by the same principle, if it is just at the level of the sharira, at the level of the subtle body also, they will be taken to another better position where they can work on their gati better. But fundamentally, everyone here in avidya, what is their basic nature? He says the basic nature is that paramarthik drishti, that you are Atma. Every prani here is Atma. What is full life? Living a full life can have two meanings. One is living your full potential of life now. In this life, your capacities, living it to full potential. Full life can also mean from birth to death. Tadvikara means you go through all the stages, having lived all the stages till old age. That is also full life. But in Shastra Vidya, we accept full life as where you have lived your potential and being able to express that fully. And what is your maximum potential? According to Shastra Drishti, that Atma you are, that Atma, recognizing it is full potential. When that is achieved, whenever you have cognition of Atma as you are and anchored in it, the Sharir Yatra ends. That is full. Having now lived full life. Samsara has ended, Agyan has ended, therefore Samsara ends. That is a full life. So here he says, Paramarthik Drishti, meaning from here that you are fundamentally your nature. Why should you not grieve? Because you are Atma, and Atma is Nityaha. Nityaha means, he's going to give that answer here. Nityaha means it is ever there. There is no coming or going. It is a contrast of temporariness. In the light of Nityatvam, there is temporariness, coming and going. That is a point of discovery. What is Nityam and what is Anityam? Because that temporariness is then Anityam. So here, Krishna is now going to tell us, why is there no grief? Fundamentally speaking also, for the wise person, because they have understood, accepted, recognized a basic fact, and that fact is even Bhishma, Drona, everyone, their fundamental nature is not going to die. There is a change, and change is inevitable, and that fundamentally you are Atma is never going to change, and Atma is Nityam, it's changelessly there, therefore there is no grief. So we'll start the 12th verse. It is an answer now. Kutaha te ashochya. How is it that they don't call for grief? Means you should not grieve for people who are going to go. Yataha nityaha. So does that mean that a jnani is a hard-hearted person? He doesn't grieve, he doesn't, he's not a hard-hearted person. He's not an indifferent person. An indifferent person is different from one who doesn't care at all, is different from a person who has anchored in the reality. For a jnani, they say, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Rataha means he revels. What? Sarva Bhuta Hitehe. What is in the hit of all beings? A jnani revels. but that doesn't mean that he is going to be grieving for those things that are in the process of change and inevitably change. So, anyone wants to chant with me?
दीप्ति जी मैं कर सकता हूँ?
हाँ, of course. पहले हम करेंगे, फिर आप हमारे पीछे
ठीक है.
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं
न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः
न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
सर्वे वयमतः परमः
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं
न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः
न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्.
So now he is telling Arjuna, na tu eva aham jatu na asam. Then never was there ever that I was not there. Aham. Krishna is saying this. It's like almost a double negative. Never was I ever not there. ऐसा है नहीं कि मैं कभी था नहीं. What is a direct sentence?
I was always there.
I was always there. So then, what about Arjuna? Natvam. Not that you were and asam goes with it. Not that you were not there also. Means you were also always there. What about all these that you are now having fear of loss for? All these janadhipaha, all the kings that are standing in front of you? Na ime janadhipaha. Not that all these kings were also not always there. Means they were always there. So, na tu eva aham jatu na asam natvam neme janadhipaha. So, I was always there, you were always there. All these people, Ime, all these people in front and behind you, they have always been there. So then, what will happen later? Nacha eva, na bhavishyamaha. Not that they will not be there in bhavishya, future. Nacha eva na bhavishyamaha. Not that they will not be there in the future. Means what?
They will always be there.
They will always be there in the future also. Sarve vayamatah param. No one, sarve vayamatah param. All of us will always be there. Means what? There is no death. There is no non-existence. There is no, as we said, if you believe that my birth was with the birth of this body, correct. There is no death for anybody. There is no death. If you believe that my birth was with the birth of this body, and with the death of the body, I will die. So, where has this I come from? Where has this consciousness come from?
Agyan.
Agyan? Nahin. From where has this consciousness come from? Supposing I think that I was born, when I was born with, the body was born, I was born, the body dies, I will die. And this consciousness is a product of body. What thinking
When you
is
think,
this?
when you join yourself with the body, when you think you are the body,
Correct. So whose thinking is it?
the jivas,
Okay. Which Jiva?
who has a gyan.
Okay. Who has a Gyan? Excellent. Correct. What thinking, what school of thinking is this?
You had done a whole thing on it. I'm not getting that.
Charvaka.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Charvaka. That I am born and I will die, and the consciousness that is there expressing as I today is all that is there as life. Na piche kuch, na aage kuch. There is no praman that tomorrow I will be there. There was no praman that I was there before. This thinking is the Charvak thinking. Restricted only to your pratyaksh praman, what you verify with your senses. मेरा जन्म हुआ है तो मेरा ये शरीर है, तो जब तक ये शरीर है तब तक मैं हूँ, जब शरीर चला जाएगा मैं नहीं रहूंगा. That's it. Life is an accident, life is an incident, consciousness is just a byproduct of the body and the elements that have come together. Absolute opposite of it. Atma is neither born nor does it die. Next verses are coming. Trishu api kaleshu. The definition of Nitya. Trishu api kaleshu nityaha atma swarupena. So, all this that you are seeing around, people, there is no loss of anyone. What will happen? संयोग है, वियोग होगा. We are there associated today. When the body dies, what has happened? There is a viyog, separation as if. But has there been non-existence? There is no non-existence to the life. There is a continuity till the point it comes to acceptance of Atma Gyan. So all he says is, Natu eva jatu kadachit aham na asam kintu asameva. Kintu asameva means मैं हूँ. अतीतेषु देहोत्पत्तिः विनाशेषु घटादिषु वियत एव नित्यः एव अहम आसम इति अभिप्रायः. So, just as dehotpattihi, with the birth of the body, vinasheshu, with the death of the body, ghatadishu vyadeva nityaha, just as the space that is there in the pot, with the birth of the pot there is space, and with the destruction of the pot The space as if merges with the total pot. Space is neither born with the pot, nor does space die when the pot is destroyed. That's the way I am, says Krishna. Not only I am, tatha, in the same way. Na tvam asihi kintu asihi eva. You are also always there in the same way. Tatha na ime janadipaha na asan kintu asan eva. You are all of them. All the kings are also always there. Tatha na cha eva na bhavishyamaha kintu bhavishyamaha eva sarve vayam ataha asmat deha vinashat param uttara kale api. So when this body will die, uttara kale, later, there will be continuity. Will still be exactly like pot space. What is space? Undefined. No boundary is called space. Then a potter makes a ghata, a pot. What is the purpose of a pot? To hold things. Means there is space in it. But when the pot was created, by the creation of the pot, was the space created?
No.
That ghatakashaha was not a creation. The pot did not create the space inside. And therefore, if you smash the pot, break the pot, does the space get destroyed? No. What is the relation of space with pot? What is the relation of space with pot?
No relation.
No relation. Correct. And?
They are coincidental. They exist coincidentally together, but space is not dependent on the pot. Space is not dependent on the existence of the pot. The pot may or may not be there, but the space will be there regardless.
Correct. So it's not coincidentally there, because coincidence means it may not sometimes be there also. Sometimes coincidence may miss out. So it's not a coincidence. But yes, it is not dependent on the pot. Moreover, by the creation of the pot is in space. Okay.
Pot is a part of space, right?
Correct.
But space is not a part of the pot. Or it may
Space.
be.
Space.
I-
No, space is very good thinking. Correct. Space is not a part of pot.
But Diptiji, before the pot was born, it took up some space as mud, and then the same amount of mud was used to create the pot. So which means that the pot didn't exist in the same form earlier, but it also still took up that space earlier as well.
Fine. But what happened to the space in the pot when the pot destroyed? What is the nature of space with reference to pot?
It got freed up, no? Agar the pot,
Was it
No.
bound?
no, it was
No.
not bound.
Space is
It was
not
not space. Nature of space is not bound. Was
Space is-
space? Sorry.
No, I'm saying the space is always there.
Exactly. Space was always there. Mud was there or not is okay. Space is always there. What happens in the light of the space being always there, the pot having created, that pot space seems to have got limited by the boundary of the pot, as if it is now, as if it is limited by the pot. When you break it, the space as if merged back into total space. But space was pervading the pot. It was ever there. It is there. It will continue to be there. It is Nityam with reference to pot. So when Bhagavan says here, it was never that I was not there. It is never will be that I will not be there in the future. I am here now also. Trikale api tishtati. We saw the definition in details. Anybody remembers the invocation of Tattvabodha that we used to do?
Vasudevendra Yogindram.
Nityam Shuddham.
Nityam
Nirakaram Niranjanam.
Nirabhasam Niranjanam
Nityabodham Chidanandam Gurum Brahmanamamyaham.
Excellent. You've all at least done in the mornings. Nityam was the first word. Trikaleshu, you can refer to your notes back. Trikaleshu api tishtati. What details may we did at that time? Because that's the fundamental foundation, and here you can make it into a quick one, because Atma is Nityaha Swarupa. Swarupa.
Diptiji, can you say that the space enlivened the pot?
Yes. Enlivened may not be, because enlivening capacity only Atma has.
Atma. Okay.
But space does not give. Space itself is inert. Atma enlivens space also. So the capacity of space to accommodate infinite objects is enlivened by Atma.
Yeah, just
All
trying to-
accommodative nature of space.
Okay.
That all accommodation of space, where does it come from? Brahman, which is infinite. So space can accommodate everything.
Okay.
So Atma Swarupena. What is Atma's Swarupa? What is the Swarupa of fire?
Heat,
Heat,
light.
light. Heat and light. Can it ever be other than that?
No.
The dharma of fire is to be hot.
Exactly. The dharma of fire is to be hot, and it gives light, hot and bright. Yes. It shows light, exhibits light. स्वरूप है उसका, वो उसका धर्म है. It will never be other than that. अगर वो उससे अलग हो गया, will it be fire? No. That is called a dharma, which will not change in any period of time. Does time have an influence then on it? If we say in any period of time it doesn't change, does time have an influence on it? It has to be free of time. Only then can you say that it is free of all periods of time. तीनों अवस्था में जो है. Now let's come back to us. I'm taking a little deviation, but to convey Atma's Nityatvam. तीनों अवस्था में जो है. As a Jiva, what are your three avasthas that you go through?
Sleep,
In a day.
wake,
Sleep,
wake,
wake,
and deep sleep.
Dream, sleep, waking. Waking, sleep, dream. Whichever way. You sleep, deep sleep. Absence of everything felt. Then there is some dream world. You have some experience of dream world. There is a lot of things in the dream that you feel. Tiger chasing you, and you can't find a respite. and you climb a tree to save yourself from the tiger, and then the tiger manages to, if it's not a very tall tree, you can't climb a tall tree anyway, so you just about manage to climb a medium heighted tree, but the tiger is very energetic, tries to reach you, so you go a little away from the tiger, and as you keep going you move towards a branch, and you suddenly realize the branch is overlooking the river, and as you are almost to the end of that branch, and it's a loose branch, it's a swaying branch, and in the process of holding on to it, your leg manages to kick a beehive. And just when you're about to lose, there is a crocodile from the bottom, from the river there, and the crocodile has a mouth open. Visualization is accurate, I hope. What has happened in the dream? The tiger was chasing you. To save yourself from the tiger, you went up the tree. The tiger was still behind you, and you managed to go to the thinking you have saved yourself, and you look down and there is a crocodile with the mouth open. Now you are holding on to the twig very, very strongly, and as you are holding on, the twig is shaking, and trying to hold on in that state of anxiousness, you manage to kick a beehive, and now bees are swarming around you, biting you. And all this, suddenly you wake up. First thought is, my God, it was a dream. Heaved a sigh of relief. Thank God it was a dream. You wish nobody to have that in reality. Which reality? Waking reality. But what happened in the dream? Was it not real? Did you not feel an experience of anxiousness? Did you not feel a fear of death? Did you not feel a fear of pain? Did you not feel a fear of struggle? Did you not feel all that in the dream? Did you not feel scared of the tiger or the crocodile? Did you not pray at that time to Bhagavad, hey God, please, if you are there, at least now, prove that you are there. Please, 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 I will do itne somvar ke vrat, or I will do this, or I will do this chadava. Please somehow solve this. How did Bhagwan answer the prayer?
By waking you up.
By waking you up. Period. By waking you up. Trikale api tishtati. The one who is there in the three states, including the waking state. All your waking tigers and crocodiles and all the bees that are stinging you today, and you are asking Bhagwan relief from it. All this punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. All this, and you pray to Bhagwan, what is the only solution he is going to give you? Wake you up. What is that waking up? Trikale api tishtati yaha asti. What is there in the three periods, experiences, common? Wake up to that. When you wake up to that, even the waking state and its reality gets dismissed. That is Atma Swarupa. It's Nityam. And never going to ever be not there. I like the way he uses the words. Never is it ever not going to be there. He doesn't give a direct statement, I was always there. I was always there is one way of saying, there is no possibility that I will not be there. Ho hi nahi sakta. Don't even think that you are never not going to be there. You are always going to be there. Means what? Later on, as we see the verses, and they are very popular, so we have all heard, just as you change your clothes every day, what will happen? When this sharir falls, you will take a new sharir. It's like taking a new garment. And there will be continuity of the expression of aham. If there is avidya, now you will identify with that sharir. If it's a Supposing today I am in a female body, tomorrow I'll be in another body. If it's another body, I'll say I am this. I am maybe born a male, and I'll say my gender will change. I may be born into being a deer, my species will change. Sharir will be like vastra. Pehnawa hai. And when we are in today, the way we are in Agyan Avastha, this waking state is so real कि the other two states को तो हम dismiss वैसे ही कर देते हैं. Sleep तो we just think it's a matter of, nobody inquires really. Even scientists today are trying so hard to figure out what is sleep. So far they haven't been able to understand fully. They are trying to work at the level of brain waves and things like that. What is sleep and experience? It's fascinating. Every prani goes to sleep. It's beautiful to understand how at night when you see all these birds and where have they gone to sleep? You can't see their nests. They've all gone to sleep. All in so except nocturnal creatures who sleep in the day, but they sleep. Sleep is an inevitable cycle where your entire state of expression of individual is temporarily out of your contact. You are not there. You yourself are not there. ये जो नाम का जो इतना हमें घमंड है, ये जो पैसे का इतना गुरूर है, ये जो ब्यूटी की इतनी वैल्यू है, इंटेलिजेंस की अपनी है, इतना स्ट्रेस है, इतना सब कुछ है. Nature has such a beautiful, it knows avidya will make us crazy. Respite is sleep. And हमारा हाल ऐसा है कि sleep only we have given up. What is supposed to recharge you, temporarily disconnect you from all this so that there is a rebalance happening inside. Re-energizing. For some time, your cognition of your avidya has been withdrawn. You are there, but no knowledge of your being there. On waking up, you say, oh, I slept sound. Oh, I slept disturbed. Oh, I slept only for 4 hours. 4 hours was whose memory? 4 घंटे हम सोए कल. ये 4 घंटे सोने वाला कौन है? किसने कहा कि हम 4 घंटे सोए थे? नींद में कहा आपने कि मैं 4 घंटे सो रही हूं. जाग के you said, oh, I slept at this time. Now the time is this. So it must have been 4 hours that I slept. It must have been 4 घंटे हुए होंगे जब मैं सोई. But time is not your experience in sleep. You are not an experience of this name and form. And in dream you are seeing so much. Question is, what is there in the 3 states for you to have said, I slept, I dreamt, I am awake? मैं सोई, मुझे सपना आया, मैं अब जागी हूं. Trikale, and it's not one day. It doesn't miss. There is no Sunday in this. When you're born till this sharir is there by prarabdha, there is no Sunday. It doesn't miss out. Fantastic. No error. Flawless. Every being sleeps. Flawless. कोई चूक नहीं है. That dharma is there of the change observable because of the changeless मैं, Atma. That is knowing that is Atma Vidya. Trishu api kaleshu. So when we did the definitions there, these are the definitions Bhashyakara gives. Trishu api kaleshu nityaha atma swarupena ityarthaha. And then just to say Deha Bhrit is used in plural, but Atma is only one. The Bahuvachan is used for Dehas. Different bodies are there, but there are not different Atmas. There is only one. So, Natu eva aham jatu na asam. Na tvam. Na ime janadipaha. Na cha eva na bhavishyamaha. Sarve vayamata, all of us, vayamata param will always be there. Then what? Tatra katham eva nityaha atma iti drishtantam aha. How is Atma eternal? How is Atma Nitya? How do we understand this? Drishtantam aha. An example is now given. And that example next class we'll do, because it's a beautiful example for reflection. Now we have entered the core of Vedantic knowledge. This is a knowledge of the Upanishads. I'm repeating myself for the sake of connection. Let's not forget the thought flow. Arjuna is samsara-grast, shoka moha. And Krishna has started his rehabilitation, I would say, by telling him the nityatvam of Atma and telling him that you are not in your proper state of mind at this point. You are talking wise, but you are actually behaving like a fool. There is no tally between your knowledge and your behavior. Therefore, he started the praman that the wise does not grieve, and you are showing signs of grief. Therefore, firstly, understand that grief is not a lakshana of a wise person. And grief means manasa santapaha, any form of agitation. A wise person anchors in knowledge. What is that knowledge? He starts paramarthik drishti straight away. Acceptance of this knowledge that there is no loss, there is no destruction in the manner of death, no non-existence. There is no non-existence. I am ever there, you are ever there, we all are ever there. As long as I don't know the nityatvam of my own being, I am changingly there. How is this changingly there possible? Next example is given, because you cannot say I can see 5 birds before and I will be there 5 birds later. I don't need Bhagwan. So how is it possible? Within this life, he is going to show it in the next verse. Just as in this life it happens, so too expand it now. It remains. Atma remains. Okay? So we'll end the class here. Is there any question? Otherwise,
So, Deepti ji, when you explained Pandit, so does that necessarily mean or not mean that a Pandit is a liberated person or not?
Normally, Pandit is used in the sense that the definition we've given is one who has Gyan. So if he's established in the Gyan, he's a liberated person. But for a liberated person in this context, normally a Gyani word is used. He's a Gyani. Gyani means he's taken Nishtha also. Nishtha means a Gyan hai or abiding bhi hai. So Pandit can be a Gyani also.
Okay, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. But by the definition, Bhashyam says he should at least have Atma Gyan. So by the end, once you know Vedanta, you cannot say you don't have Atma Gyan. So we'll all be Pandits. But Gyani would be establishing it. That Pandit who will not have Dukkha and Moha is now a Gyani. Despite Karan hone ke. That is where all the mental sadhanas come in. And that process he is going to keep taking through. Okay? So let's end. Neetuji, can you conclude the class?
Yes. Sarvesham swastirбhavatu, sarvesham shantirбhavatu, sarvesham purnam bhavatu, sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhagave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dipti.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hugely.
Thank you, Dipti ji.